I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning. Welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we've got a very informative and entertaining show with my special guest, and her name is Seth Johnson. And I want to also give you an opportunity, too, to call in. If you'd like to call into the show, you can call in 313-868 0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. Again, we are televising live from the phenomenal cities of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. You're watching us live, too, from WHPS 15.3 in Detroit and Highland Park. But we are sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper under Miss Valerie Lockhart. And if you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, you can contact Miss Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. And if you'd also like to pick up a copy, you can contact Miss Lockhart. She can let you know where copies are located at in your immediate vicinity. There's a lot of things I'm just thankful in terms of say that this was a happy Father's Day for me and probably for many other fathers that celebrated Father's Day this past weekend. And it's just good to let people know that they are appreciated and to let people know, even if they have made their transition, that they were appreciated, but there's still a legacy that they leave behind in their sons and their grandsons and in their daughters and in their granddaughters. So that fatherhood that they brought to the family is something that will not be forgotten, whether or not if they're here or not. They're still a part, just like with my father. There's still a part of him that resides in me on a regular basis. And Dad, I love you. So, I want to let you know in terms of say, I know that you're, I think about you, I think about the things that I do, and I know that other people that have thought about their fathers or grandparents or even people that may have raised them as a father figure. Because one thing that people don't really realize when you talk about Father's Day, you're not only talking about just the biological fathers that brought you into the world, but you may be looking at a person that may have helped raise you along with your mother. It could have been a grandparent, could have been an uncle, could have been just a mentor that was in your life that may have come in and helped. A lot of coaches represent that father figure. Teachers represent that father figure to a lot of people. So again, my head goes off to a lot of people that are serving in that role as a mentor, as a father figure, and as a dad to a lot of people. So again, if you didn't get a chance to go and celebrate last Sunday or this past Sunday, Father's Day should be every day, just like Mother's Day should be every day. Shouldn't just be just the one day that we celebrate. Contact your dads, contact your granddads, contact folks and let them know, hey, I love you, I appreciate you, and you are a part of me, and you will always be a part of me wherever I go, whatever I do. Okay. Today we're going to talk sports. And matter of fact, I've got a person on this show that talks sports. Her name is Cess Johnson, and Cess talks sports, and she's going to talk sports with Expose Under the Sun today. Cess Johnson, thank you for being on Expose Under the Sun today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Talk to me a little bit about what is Cess Talk Sports about?
Cess Talk Sports is a YouTube channel, basically a platform, a community, if you will, of diverse and well-versed sports fans. It started off as just me cutting the camera on to be able to say, I talk sports, who's talking sports with me? And it kind of grew from there. It started off with me looking for something to be able to do during the games. I noticed on YouTube there's a lot of people who are on pregame and postgame, but it was like, I'm watching the game and I'm screaming at the TV by myself.
Don't we all do that?
Right. So it was like, I wonder if anybody else is watching and screaming at the TV like me, especially about women's basketball. And so I kind of started playing around with it a little bit and then got really serious with it as South Carolina started to really take off last season and just kind of track the revenge tour that Raven and Coach Staley, I call her Big Drip, were
What
on.
you call it, Big Who?
Big Drip.
Why that name?
Big Drip. Oh, cause her drip, her she always clean. Balenciaga, Gucci.
Okay.
They call her Louis Vuitton Don. Big Drip, always clean. So tracking that.
Big Drip.
Big Drip.
Okay, I'll have to write that one down. Go
That's
ahead.
Coach Big Drip.
So if I ever meet her in person, I could go and look at her and say, does she know that name has been successful?
I hear that she knows it. So
Okay.
we use it amongst the virtual fams. So I'm your favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies. That's how I introduce myself on the show. And from there we have the fams, and that's kind of just me interacting with the chat while the game is on. Sometimes I'll drop the link, people come up and talk, but I found out a lot of people just want to be able to talk women's hoops, and it became like a therapy. So it's something now that I do all the way through college hoops, and then I also do it for the WNBA now.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Just started last season.
Last season.
And it actually started with a buddy of mine. So I went to Alabama State HBCU, shout out Hornets, and I went to I had a buddy that I talked sports with at college, and he was like, you know what, let's cut the camera on and talk sports, and it kind of just went from there.
Okay. So, how are you different from any of the other sports shows that are out here? So,
like I said, I think where I really made my niche was being live during the games.
Okay.
Because nobody was really live during the games. I noticed that they're now, especially as WNBA is kind of taking off and this lightning in a bottle is happening around women's basketball, we have more people that are doing play-by-play and stuff like that. But every night that there's a WNBA game on, I'm live. And it's called Game On Pull Up, and it's WNBA whatever night at Auntie's house. And so it's just pulling up and kind of hanging out with your favorite virtual cousins, and kind of just talking trash. There's some back and forth. Everybody's not the fans of the same teams, but I think the beautiful thing about our community is that we've set a platform here where we can agree to disagree. You can cheer for your favorite team as long as we keep it respectful. We keep the trolls out, but it's also an opportunity for us to learn a lot about each other and a lot about sports. I'm blown away every time by some of the people that are in the chat, taking a deeper dive into them. Some of them are former Hall of Famers based on like from high school, college, coaches that have coached from AAU up to semi-pro, virtual, I guess, sports lovers as well that are doing like highlights and stuff like that. The connection and the power of sports was just enhanced when I cut the camera on, because I didn't know that there were so many people like me that were, like you said, just yelling at that TV, like, "What are you doing?" But to be able to enjoy that and also have the fams come back and say, thanks, we needed this. This is a therapy. This is something we didn't know that we needed. They look for it now on a regular basis. So that's something that we're really proud of.
Would there ever be a time when Sess might be a color commentary?
Color commentary, possibly. I think the most important part of my platform is being able to cover what I think is important, and a lot of times what that is being able to cover a lot of those players and moments that aren't covered by big media. Mm-hmm. So it gives me an opportunity to be able to shine a light on local high school players like Anaya Hardy coming out of Detroit Renaissance. I had this thing where on the show sometimes I had a flashlight out and I'm clicking it because I'm looking for coverage of Rakia Jackson in the daytime with a flashlight, because why are we not talking about these players who are having wonderful impact on the WNBA? We get a lot of coverage right now around Caitlin Clark, which is awesome, but Caitlin Clark didn't get here by herself. And that's kind of like the other part of this platform. Like there was an Angel Reese there. Caitlin Clark has about 2.3 million followers on Instagram. Angel Reese has 3.8 million followers, I believe, by herself. 3.5, whatever it is, it's more than the league has alone. And outside of outside of Caitlin Clark, those young ladies that were in the draft that showed up in New York that have worked their butts off to make rosters this year, they're bringing 5.8 million followers with them. And they're coming to be able to see them and not just Caitlin. And I wanted to be able to shout out these women that are playing great basketball and helping grow this game, because I don't think that the narrative is being shared and the spotlight is big enough for everybody.
And it's so interesting because, back in the day when you used to see the regular Gino, I can't say his last name, but Connecticut. And then when you would see the Pat, I think it was with Tennessee, those were usually the two juggernauts that you would always see when you talked about, women's basketball, college basketball. And it was interesting because the championship games for the men and the women outshined the men when it came down to the interest in the game, including myself, because I was making sure that Sunday night I was watching that game that day. I did watch the men's that next day, but it's like the marquee game to me was the women's game.
Okay.
And I think that looking at a lot of people that were interested in the draft, probably wasn't any big, mystery as to who was probably going to be drafted first. But the thing is that the ancillary players that were drafted, after Caitlin Clark have made an impact on the WNBA as well. And, you mentioned about the Angel Reeses and, other players. But let me ask you just a kind of a sport-on question.
Sure.
So who do you think then in the WNBA, who do you think was probably the best player, or the as people want to say, the GOAT, as folks say when it comes down to basketball players, the NBA? And a lot of people had that debate about whether or not it's LeBron versus Michael Jordan or whatever the case. Who do you think was the GOAT when it came down to women's basketball in the WNBA?
So I'm probably not a popular answer. For me, it's going to be Sheryl Swoopes.
Mm-hmm.
Sheryl, first shoe, gave her life to the game. Pretty much went and had a baby, came back, 4 championships. Not necessarily the best player on her team, but such a great ambassador for the game. Played against Michael Jordan. So they went in the gym and they played, and then they came out and nobody said who won. So for me, it's going to be Sheryl Swoopes. I know for a lot of the young ladies coming after me, it would probably be Diana Taurasi, because DT's played so long. But you have your Maya Moores up there. And I think for me, there's eras. So like NBA, like there's certain, when we talk GOATs, I don't talk Bill Russell, I don't talk
Wilt Chamberlain,
because I look at them as the founding fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Cheryl Miller that was before Sheryl Swoopes.
Mm-hmm.
that she was her. For me, I grew up at a time when there wasn't a professional league to grow up and play in. So Pat Summitt in Tennessee was probably it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a point in high school where it was like your height and then this coaching is probably not going to get you into college, into a 4-year. And I was able to be like, okay, let's shift and think about where what is our career going to be, but be able to keep that passion. Now, young ladies are able to dream about and see a league that they can grow up and play in here in the U.S. For me, my dad made it a point when I was young to know that there was a Cheryl Miller, that there was like a women's basketball league that came on from time to time, but that stuff took place overseas. It didn't take place here. It wasn't something that I could grow up in. So probably for most of the young ladies right now would be Diana Taurasi. She's been playing I don't know, I joke around and say she's been here 97 years, but DT's 42, I believe, 20 years in the game. LeBron gets so much respect for being 20 years in the game, but they're like, look at LeBron, 38 years old, still doing it. DT's 42 and still doing it. But the narrative that you hear is, why is she still here? Why did she get out of the league? What's the difference? She's still balling. DT dropped 7 threes. So probably Diana Taurasi is probably most everybody's go, but for me, Cheryl Swoops.
So do you also cover what other sports besides basketball?
So I do NCAA women's hoops. I do WNBA. I do some NBA finals coverage. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. I'm dying to be a Detroit Pistons fan, but we working on that part. But when I was here in Michigan as a kid, I was a Bad Boy fan. So to come back and to see Detroit basketball in the state that it's in makes me sad, but we're working on it.
So do you have ideas, or do you have ideas that you'd like to, approach the coach and tell, or approach the general manager or the owner as to what could be done for the state of affairs in Detroit Pistons basketball?
I would like to understand what happened after I left, because Detroit basketball it was a big deal. Like, I had the original Bad Boys T-shirt with the skull and the skull and crossbones with the basketball behind it, and then what happened?
Well,
Detroit,
we won another championship.
Oh yeah,
since then.
They gave
Rip Hamilton, right?
They gave Kobe and them. They gave my Lakers some work, right? But what happened? Because for me, Detroit has some of the greatest legends around the game, and I don't see them around Detroit. I don't see them around the Pistons, and I don't understand that. I also feel like the Pistons organization doesn't look a lot like the city, and I don't get that. I think if the Pistons started to look more like the city, like they moved them back into the city, but they don't look like the city. And then they haven't, I don't feel like, really made a connection with the city like I thought that they had in the past. But where's Joe Dumars? Where's John Sally? Where's Isaiah? Well, I'm back and I'm thinking I'm gonna see Zeke downtown, like Zeke's in Detroit all the time. But no, where's that rich history?
Well, a lot of them have moved on to other, avenues, as I know you know.
Magic even shows up in East Lansing sometimes. We got to be able to have that type of connection back with those Pistons. I mean, some of the biggest names came through here. Dennis Rodman, he was Prince and Prince Rodman before he turned into whoever he got to, before he got to Chicago and all these other places, Hall of Famer. But, I mean, pound for pound, are there more Hall of Famers within that time frame than what Detroit pushed out here locally? I don't think so. I don't know. John Sally, Bill Laimbeer. But we talk WNBA, we talk NBA, we talk boxing. Really looking forward to Clarissa Shields boxing here in July. That's going to be probably the first live chat that we do around a female boxer. We just did the tank fight, and then track and field. So we're gearing up to be able to cover the Olympics, and then. I'm a South Carolina Gamecock fan, so a lot of the women's sports that come out of there. So right now, Mylasia Fuwiley, Jamesia Ford, everything that the Gamecocks are doing, but also being able to start breaking into what's going on here in Detroit.
Okay, so where and when can your show be seen?
Oh, so we're on all week. I have a variety of shows. So there's Sess Talk Sports, which is the show that I do live. And that's something that I do probably on a basketball schedule. So we're usually live every night around 7:30 or 8, depending on when the games are starting. Then I have a show that I do now, joining the conversation with my co-host, Coach Rowe. And that's now joining the conversation. We do that live on Monday nights at 9. And then we have an episode that we drop on Thursdays. We have a ringside show, which is about boxing, that I have with another co-host, B, which we do on Sundays. And then I have the CC show, which is a midday show that I do on Wednesdays and Fridays Wednesday we're doing a recap of kind of like WNBA scores in the week before, and Friday we're kind of looking at the T and what's going on, what's hot topics around the league. And then we also have a WNBA Fix It series where I'm looking at what's wrong with the WNBA and how we can do it better. Things like the Detroit Shock, the history of that
Do you think
organization.
they should bring the Shock back?
Oh,
or-
absolutely. Absolutely. There's no way that you let that history walk away. That was such an important part of the WNBA. But I feel like the NBA and the WNBA always kind of try to slight Detroit a little bit. They talk Lakers, they talk Boston, they talk Bulls, but they don't talk those Pistons that interrupted all of that stuff in between. They talk Comets, they talk Sparks, they talk New York Liberty, but they don't talk the Detroit Shock and that interruption that Detroit made. Like, it's always this little bump in the road that they try to skip over, but it's a huge part of the history of both leagues, but especially with the WNBA. 28 years old, like not young enough to be not embracing all of the history. Like, there's no way that Detroit shouldn't be here. There's no way that the Comets shouldn't be here. 4 championships in a row. You should be able to walk into that facility and see those championships and those banners and pictures of those ladies. You should be able to see those things here. You
I
should be able
mean,
to see
you know, when I think about the Swin Cashes, and,
Swin
you know,
Cash, Tweety Nolan, like
Right.
all of those ladies that were here, Ford, right? Like the history that was, they were real ballers, and a lot of people don't even get a chance to talk about them, like the Tulsa Shock, and you forget about Detroit and that. Now I'm tired of us being forgotten, and I'm tired of us not being acknowledged.
And then you not think too in terms of say about the coaches. You know, you not think about Mahorn. You not think about Bill Laimbeer that coached them to that championship.
Not only that, Bill also was the coach in Las Vegas that helped
For the
build
Aces,
helped
right.
build that
Right.
Aces team up
Right.
to where it's at. You know, like Asia and those ladies still have a soft spot in their heart for
For
Bill.
Bill
He,
Laimbeer,
he
right.
was just at the game recently. You know, you can see him coming up hugging him. Legend. Where is he? High basketball IQ. Where is he?
So now, have you had? You know, we've got a few more minutes left, but have you had any professional athletes come on your show?
No, not so far. But
Who's a dream interview that you would like to have on your show, or person that you
Athlete?
like to have on? Right.
Athlete, it would be Asia Wilson. Coach, Big Drip, it would be Don Staley. Gino Auriemma was a made man. Pat Summitt, rest in peace.
Transition, right.
Transition, wouldn't be able to interview her. She was women's basketball for me.
Absolutely.
She's legendary program. Hate to see that Tennessee is in the state that it's in, but yeah, it would be Asia Wilson for me, definitely. I think that she's the best player in the world right now. New York Times bestseller. The fact that she has a statue on a campus that her grandmother couldn't even walk on, and that she can go to that statue while she's still here just says a lot about who she is. Outstanding player, better person.
So how many viewers do you normally average to watch your show?
So live, mostly on a good night between 12 and 1,600 come through and watch. Depending on who's playing, we may see 469 or so, but we also have other content that's dropping across the page. So probably averaging about 3,000 to 4,000 views a day.
Okay. And then another question I want to ask you too is that, so I'm going to throw another one just out the league, because the Aces were the past 2 champions for
Yes.
the WNBA.
Yes.
I watched the game the other day, and I saw the Aces when they lost to the Liberty.
Yes.
We know that that's not a regular anything, but the thing is that just like in the NBA, is there now more parity in the WNBA where you see these teams like, because I saw it interesting where I saw the Fever beat the Sun, the other day.
Right.
Do you think there's parity in the WNBA like what a lot of people are saying is in the NBA?
Yeah. Well, the parity is coming. There's 144 spots. So, it needs to be the best 144 women in the world. We have tremendous freshman classes and seniors coming out of college that are going to be coming into the league. But, yes, we're starting to see that parity. Definitely seeing younger teams challenge. I think we're also getting a different type of rookie that's coming into the league now. Like, they're not waiting their turn. They're not here to be, carry my bag rookie. It's like, no, take the ball out. I got
Right,
as much game as
right,
you.
right.
And they're different, and they're challenging, and they're pushing back. And I think that's going to help grow the game. But I also think that this is an important time for the WNBA because one of the things that we haven't been able to do as a league is capture the fandom and the support that comes in college and bring it over to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese had a championship game that I think saw 12 million view. South Carolina and Indiana, I believe when we just played, it was maybe I think 18 million that watched that final game versus 775,000 that watched the WNBA finals. So the baked-in support that said the colleges and the universities isn't necessarily transitioning over to the WNBA, and so this is a great time for the WNBA to use some of these social platforms and partner with some of these ladies that are coming out of college with NILs and brand deals and followings that are bigger than the league itself, like I mentioned with Angel, to be able to help spread the word. I think it's important for us to stop pushing the narrative that there can only be one female GOAT or popular one at a time. I think the NBA does a great job of making sure we know all of the rookies coming in the league before they even touch the ball. And I think that the WNBA could partner better with the NCAA to be able to start telling these stories and telling these narratives earlier in these careers, so that you can have this kind of parity, but also have more viewership and get the league to a place where these ladies can come in and make more than $75,000 to start.
You know, and I hate that this show is just a half an hour because it went by so fast. We've got to wrap up.
No
But
worries.
we could have probably, with Sis Talk Sports, Carol could have talked about another half an hour
Absolutely,
or so,
absolutely.
with that. But just real quick, give your time and the date, just real quick, and give you a little 15-second synopsis about when and where somebody can find you, Sis Talk Sports at.
Oh, you can find Cess Talk Sports on YouTube at Cess Talk Sports. That's CESS Talks Sports. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly Twitter. You can find us for sure Monday nights at 9 live. We also have all of our live shows up so that you can see kind of what's coming up. Our schedule for lives pretty much goes based on how the WNBA schedule goes. So usually live around 7:30, 8 o'clock every night. But definitely live on Monday nights at 9, Thursday nights at 9. And throughout the week, we have midday shows at 1 and at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Okay. Sis Talk Sports. And Sis Talk Sports today on Expose Under the Sun.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to go and, as I said, get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart, 313-457-5944. Have a great rest of the day, and let one of these men know that you really appreciate what they've done and what they're going to do in your life. Peace.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.